Wow. All right. So today is going to be about 104 degrees, which means that last night, yeah, the heat index went up astronomically, like literally went up astronomically. And yeah, my husband, his back was hurting. I had some kind of, oh gosh, like acid reflux. And it was weird because I was laying in bed. I was feeling like had to take a nap because my heart was beating so fast because of frequency changes and everything. And so I took a nap. I woke up. I felt just like uneasy and under dis-ease. And so I just kind of laid there going like, okay, drinking some water, and I feel the stuff come up. I'm like, okay. I went and released a bunch of demons. Holy crap. That was awesome. That's what fixed me yesterday, where I didn't feel any more of the acid reflux. I didn't feel any more pain, really. And it was just, trying to get to sleep through all of this crazy, crazy frequency changes. And so, it's, I'll tell you, the world isn't what you think it is. The world is not what you think. It really isn't. And I don't know who came first. We hear that Adam came first based upon all the biblical stories, but Eve is the most powerful. Lilith, the most powerful. Lilith and Eve are like two sides of the same coin, the positive and negative relative to how you want to look at it. And you think about how powerful women are. I mean, I'm pretty powerful. How I landed my husband from across the country, and then how we developed a team together to get where we are today. And my husband is excelling in what he does. I'm doing great in what I'm doing. And so I know how powerful I am, and I am a woman, and I know how powerful I am. Women can use their sexuality as a way to tractor beam somebody in. Women can use their head, their multitasking ability, their intelligence to trap a man, and to also do other types of stuff. So I know how powerful women are. They're the ones that raise the kids for the most part. It's what the courts give to the women is the babies, more than not. And so women are going to be the ones that are going to change the fucking world. And they're going to be the ones that are going to break their own families or change their families and save them. And so I'm not ever trying to attack a woman. I want you to know how powerful you are, because some women don't know how powerful they are, and they allow the man or somebody else tell them that they don't have any power. But then women also misuse their power. Okay? And so this is, if you want to save your family, women, if you want to save the world, women, you got to figure out your power and how not to misuse it. But again, remember, alcohol, drugs, sex, and so many other things have just tarnished and, I don't know, like, yeah, I mean, I'm saying tarnish is such a, not really a strong word. Marred, that's not even, what's another synonym? Marred. Synonym. Damaged, deformed, deface, mutilate. Yeah, drugs, alcohol, and massive amounts of sex have completely just blemished the female and took away her power. And I'm not even saying the men did it. It was just the system. Okay? And so I want to say that a little disclaimer is that I'm not attacking women at all. Just so you know, women are fucking powerful. The men might be stronger physically, but women, because we've had to use men to build up the world, but women, they have so much leverage. They have so much power. Why is it? Because they have mostly control over the children. Now you see why it's necessary for women to understand their power and use it wisely. Why they must understand the J world. Because even if you can't save your kids, moms, okay? If you can't save your kids, you save yourself. Maybe you might be able to have another child that is stronger for this next world. And because you became relatively whole. You saved yourself. Yeah, you couldn't save your kid, but you saved yourself. Maybe you have another kid in the future, who knows? And that kid is stronger for the new environment. And then now you have just developed a kid that will be able to handle all the different frequency changes, and then that goes viral and other mothers become whole again. And then down the road, they might have a kid that is strong for the environment. Because right now, a lot of kids are not strong enough for the environment. And so it is the mothers who will change the world, because the fathers do not have a lot to say at all. All right? And you know how this shit works. Even the single fathers, as the grandmothers, purposely insert themselves into the picture. Because I'm telling you, I will be so honest to say that yes, the J world is literally going to be the only way for people to save themselves. Why is it? How can you say this, Jillian, that your way is the only way that's going to save the fucking world when you think about it? Because nobody is understanding their whole alimentary canal. Everyone is getting somebody else to go and do stuff to them, or taking harsh remedies, or taking food away from themselves, and not facing any of the pain, and not releasing the demons. Nobody out there, except for those potentially in the J world, are doing that. And so if you want to save yourself in this massive, crazy climate change, you're going to have to release those demons. You have to understand your whole alimentary canal. That means from your anus all the way up to your mouth. And allow the gut to figure out how to distribute stuff, and then let your brain help you bring in the information, as long as your gut's relatively capable to take in evolution like information. And so I'm going to say this, the J world, not even the J juice, because you can get salt water, and then the ionosphere and the ionizing waves and all that stuff are bringing up people's demons. So the J world is going to be the only fucking way people are going to goddamn survive. And I am so comfortable in saying that, because I look out there at everybody and I'm like, what are people doing? They are accelerating their intentions. They don't want to feel pain. They want to rest in peace. But when you rest in peace, that means you don't ever really wake up. You don't ever wake up. So it is the mothers who will change the world, because the fathers do not have a lot to say at all. Even the single fathers, as the grandmothers, purposely insert themselves into the picture and take over and start plying the kid with remedies and saying, okay, you got to get this therapy and this therapy and this therapy. Oh, and get this surgery and this surgery. So the grandmothers are the ones that, if the mother isn't in the picture, then the grandmothers or any other female figure is going to go in and take over. And so it's the mothers that are going to fucking change the world and change their family and save themselves. The women will be the ones to save the world. You know as well as I, fathers are demonized and used as a tool, and so it will literally be the women and the mothers who will save their own family. As I look on my Facebook, many mothers will destroy their own family, all for the sake of saving face. Okay? And it's going to happen. It's a reality. I'm not going to be able to save everybody. Of course, I'm not supposed to. But I want you to see how powerful women can be. They can destroy themselves and destroy their family, or they can save themselves and save their family. They may not be able to save their kids, but if they save themselves, then they're saving their juvenile selves. Potentially, even down the road, they can have a family that's strong enough for the environment, and they know what to do and how to take care of themselves during climate change. But some mothers have the power to save their family because their kids respect them so much, and they will listen to their mothers. But not all the time. And so the fathers might be able to save themselves, but they will fight the mother, and the mother will win, and she will destroy her children. So the father must leave the scene and save himself. Okay? That's why we have so many single mothers out there. Believe it or not, women can be very powerful. Absolutely. Very destructive. And very powerful. Okay? I mean, now you see how men have been used as a tool. Women bear the babies. If they don't get along, most of the time the women get the children full custody. And then the men have to pay child support forever. Well, at least until the kid's 18. That's how you force men to work who don't have control over their hormones. And of course, all the circumcision doesn't help them control their urges. So, you know, as our society was built up for building up the infrastructure, they had to get men on board, women on board. They had to figure out how to get men to work. And how do you leverage men? Well, you have the women. That's why they call women succubus. because they can tractor beam men into doing things that are harmful to themselves and get into relationships and get into type of situations that the men then are being drained dry. And I'm saying the women is bad, but we are powerful. We're fucking powerful. And sometimes we misuse our power. We don't know how powerful we are until we see the destruction behind us or we see amazing shit behind us. So that's the thing. I mean, men, yes, have the ability, but I don't see a lot of men wanting to change. When you look at the J world, one man is really that's more vocal about it. That's John Oakes. But that's one person out of like so many people that have been involved with the J world. Okay? I mean, there might be other men out there, they're not saying anything because, yeah, I mean, the J world is about sticking your finger in your ass and pulling out the shit so you can evolve and save yourself. But how many men out there really are going to evolve? It's the women that are able to deal with the pain inside. And so, now you see, okay, that's how you force men to work. You don't have control over their hormones. Of course, all the circumcision doesn't help them control their urges. All right? So then the men have to work to pay for everything. That's how the men have been used. Men, be careful who you get with. You'll be under major slavery and the system will support that. As soon as you get with a girl and she gets pregnant, all bets are off. You're done. Oh God, I hear cats outside screaming. And so all bets are off when you have a child with somebody, because now that child will be used as leverage against you. And even if you just give up all rights to the child, that child will have issues with you. And then friends and family are like, oh my God, you did this. Oh my God, you did that. And everyone's feeling sorry for everybody. Okay? And so really hot sexual women will trap men into paying child support forever, making the woman out to be a saint and an angel. But both have been used as a tool to develop children from more human experimentation. And then you watch the suffering. And so how do you get men to work? You get them all hot and bothered. The women are dying to get married. And they are hot and gorgeous. Out pops a kid. Now the man has to go to work and pay for that child. If they don't, they go to jail. That's how the system has trapped men into slavery and women into sexual slavery. Because then you look all over Facebook, how many women out there are showing their boobs? How many women out there are commodifying their body parts so they can get, GoFundMes or Instagram, coins or whatever. And so that man is under ultimate control. Not only is he easily controlled by the family, and of course all the ridicule and the admonishing, but the system has him under their thumb. Not only is that man done, but it will be very difficult for him to free himself. So that's slavery for men. Is their hormones get out of control, out pops a few children, and then now they're leveraged. They're fucking leveraged by everybody. And so, but it'll be very difficult for him to free himself because many people in society will destroy him when he tries to free himself. That's how fucked up friends and family can be. They hold people hostage and they freeze you out if you don't conform. And so this is how the system enslaves people. This is why you must be very careful having a child, because that child will be used as leverage and a control mechanism. I've seen it in families and it's fucked up. I've seen men enslave other men. It's fucked up that men do that to each other. It's fucked up that women do that to each other. It's fucked up what men and women do to each other. Okay? So that's why when someone asks me, well, I don't know about reconsidering making families right now, because right now it's too aggressive. Right now, the environment is so aggressive. People are dealing with their own bullshit. It's coming to surface. Having a child now is going to add more stress and everything else and the suffering. And then if things don't work out and someone happens to go off the deep end, then people start putting their judgments in. And then that guy and that girl are both suffering under the weight of the responsibility of their choices. And some people don't survive that and they do really stupid shit. You see it all over Facebook, all the different headlines about what mothers have done to their kids, what fathers have done to their families, because they are at their wits' end. They were sold a bill of goods. And that the whole thing with having large families is built into politics, religion, and science. I'm not knocking that having kids, but you got to be a relatively whole person with hardly any trauma to you so that kid has a chance when there's climate change. Okay? It was fine back in the 1950s. Maybe in the 1960s, but even then, I don't know, it was crazy. Okay, but when people were relatively okay, there was a period of time where there was some, I don't know, some chilling out period after World War II. But then all the human experimentation in the 1950s. Okay? And so having big families and having so many children and all that stuff for all the human experimentation and all the different stuff that they do to build up society and all that, well, it's built into religion, spirituality, science, politics. It's all about programming people through energy conversion, okay? Using electromagnetic frequencies to bring to life and take away life. Now you're going to look at what was going on back to all the sun worshippers, like Imhotep, way back in the Rosicrucian, well, back in the Egyptian days. Okay, so culture is all about using electromagnetic frequencies to develop life, program it, and take away life when necessary. And that is oncology and all the medical holistic energy healing world. We can't destroy people purposely, right? People must destroy themselves at their own hand. Self-destruct must be built into the population if they can't control their own reproduction. That's religion, that's spirituality, that's science, that is politics. And so when you think about, gosh, when I was thinking about the what EMF does and what crystals do, and they send off EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, and with all this heat, right, I was thinking about magnifying glasses, using a magnifying glass, and you can point it somewhere and then have a direct energy weapon, and it can make things hotter. Then I think about the CERN and the HARP, and then whatever's up there circulating, orbiting Earth, all the geothermal positioning systems or whatever positioning systems. Then I think about what Masa, when she sent me that video a couple years ago about free energy and Tartarian free energy and all that stuff. And the old churches would have specific crystal nodes, and they were coming from the point of like free energy, battery, like that was like a battery station type of thing. I don't remember, it's been a while since I've seen the video, but when you think about putting crystal nodes in those openings in the church, and then the sun, okay, during the day, so if the church is facing east and the sun is coming through and hitting that specific node of all of those crystals, and then it reflects back, right? It reflects back over the town. The town may be under some kind of like religious feelings of spirituality. They would feel, cancer, disease, chronic illness, and spiritual awakenings. They would be pixelating. They'd be seeing shit, especially during certain times of the seasons, like summertime. And so the earliest Christian churches in Rome were all built with the entrances to the east, like the Jewish temples in Jerusalem. The sun rises in the east. The sun energy is transferred through the crystal nodes in the churches. Those energy beams change the weather in the town and, make it hotter and all that stuff. And yes, cause cancer, disease, chronic illness, and also causes spirituality. Okay? And so, that's all the crystal energy healing people. They're taking these crystals and they're doing stuff, but what's going on is, they're getting their awakenings, but it's also breaking them apart. That's why I said, way back in the beginning, put your crystals away when you're trying to become whole again, because you're already pixelating from the heat in the environment, and you already are in entropy because of the Ouroboros. Those microbes are replicating so much, eating away your body, mind, and spirit, that the crystals are not only reflecting back what's going on, but they are also causing so much more breakage, falling apart, breaking you apart. People are trying to shield themselves from all the EMF waves. No, you can't. There's no way to shield yourself from EMF. Okay? There's no way, because it's everywhere. You're in it. The heat in the environment is the EMF. And so you have to keep feeding the energy. But people don't, and they're in deficit, and they have all these spiritual awakenings. They think, that, I don't know what they think. And then all of a sudden they don't wake up. Okay? And so what is a crystal node? Each node of the crystal lattice represents a lattice point of which marks the position of either a single atom or a particular group of atoms. A small region of the crystal lattice can be used to represent the whole crystal, because we know that crystals have regular repeating structures. That's why you get religious people. They're feeding their own, they're feeling their own hormones. And people develop stories around what the awakening is. Maybe they hear ghosts from stuff because the energy is high. We know that's what happens in ghost adventures. People develop stories around them, and they find a savior or Satan to worship or demonize. And so I wanted to acknowledge Masa because she recommended a video talking about battery energy nodes used as a free energy in towns with churches. And then that information explains everything, especially where I'm coming from. Because especially around this aggressive climate change and cancer that died suddenly. And so the crystal reflects the light. It is shiny and shimmering. When the sunlight hits the crystal, it reflects aggressive energy. Imagine large crystals in churches during certain times of the season, especially summer. Okay? And now you see why people get spiritual when they go to church. The energy causes pixelation. And so when I said crystals were used in cathedrals, right? That's why the hospital system came about. All that EMF people were seeing so much stuff and getting cancer. And they were feeling the power of what light does, right? That's Lucifer, the power of light. Lucifer can destroy. Remember, all my information, people say all the whole, Rosicrucian and the Freemasons are all Luciferian because of so much information. People can't handle that many truths. And when you're told a religion, a politics, and a scientific dogma, and then someone says, hey, there's another argument, and there's like 50 million of them, different stories, people, supernova, they can't handle it. That's Luciferian. When you throw so much information at people and they don't know how to organize it, and so they super implode, they supernova. And they were feeling the power of what light does. It brings up hormones and causes aggressive entropy. And then they see their maker, or what they think is their maker, Jesus Christ. And so I'm going to read this. The transformation of the Crystal Cathedral in Christ Cathedral is not only what makes what is made visible. Okay, who are these people? Give me 1 second. Okay. Kisa Hobabi. Okay, I don't know what that means. I'm just gonna ban from stream. There we go. Sorry. Okay. The transformation of a crystal cathedral into Christ Cathedral is not only about what is made visible. It is about fostering an experience of gathering around the table, the altar. The table is for sharing communion, the locus of sacrifice. In order to become a sacramental holy space, the essential aim must be to articulate the presence of divinity. In the former Crystal Cathedral, secular or Schuller preached God's word through the reason and light illuminated reason with technology, expressed in structure and glass, in order to reconceive the space as Catholic light must recolor the space and arrangement of elements revolve around the altar. Okay, so geez, what is going on here? Give me 1 second. Too many people are. Oh my gosh. So yeah. Okay, I see what's going on. All right. So you see what happens with the crystal so you see what happens with glass and crystal and everything. It reflects back EMF and it causes people to go into some spiritual type of stuff. When you're starving yourself and you're eating a bunch of spices, people get spiritual. When you're around so much of reflective glass and it starts pixelating you, people get spiritual. That's where religion comes from. It's using those EMF waves, reflection from crystals. That's why all the crystal energy healing people, they're like, oh my God, let's play with your chakras. Let's do this, let's do that. And they're seeing stuff, they're feeling stuff. But it's also taken away their life force. Because then you see people don't eat to make up for all the energy they're exposing themselves to, whether it's crystals or something else. Okay? And so if you are a self-proclaimed sun worshiper in this environment, oh yeah, you'll see the light. you'll walk right into the light and then darkness. Okay? And so what happens is when people do get around that kind of light, whether it's a lot of sun or a bunch of crystals, or walking into some crystal cathedral where it is actual glass and sun is going right through it and it's reflecting right back at you, then you get the Ouroboros. All right? So when the algorithms and the frequencies wake up the microbes in your body and they start replicating eating, if you're not eating enough for the energy conversion, if you're not making up for the body eating you up and replicating, eating whatever's available, if you're not feeding your body, your body will eat itself. You will die from lack of substance because you have all these little colony forming units eating you from the inside out. And so if you're not eating enough for energy conversion, your whole body will consume you. Those microbes will eat you out of existence. That's why the skinny people are in such danger right now. That's why children are in such danger right now, especially if they don't have a strong infrastructure. Food is the answer. And you have to release the demons the way I mentioned in my book, because if you do it any other way, you will compromise yourself. If you take anything by mouth, or if you stick instruments in you, I mean, I guess people who are obese have to have that happen at some point, but you don't want to rely on any instruments being stuck in you. You have everything that you need to keep yourself alive with food. But as you know, people are so deficient, they're so reliant on somebody else to do stuff for them in their body, they have to transition from that. But food is the answer, and you have to release those demons effectively. And if you have food intolerances, good luck. If you literally stop your body from releasing, you won't survive. So you're taking Imodium AD so you don't have diarrhea. When you're taking stuff to stop you from coughing and sneezing and blowing your nose, you are keeping those demons within. That's why people are having aggressive cancer disease and chronic illness, aging out aggressively, and then they see the light and then they're done. Okay? That's why you have to be careful where you go, because the algorithms and the frequencies, when they all clash together, people don't survive the conflict. And I don't listen to a lot of music, or I listen to very calm music. I don't want my microbes to fornicate so fast, because then I have to feed those children, also known as offspring. Okay, so when you have so much energy causing things to vibrate, and then they divide, or they fornicate and they develop an offspring, or they divide and they break apart, you're going to have to then bring yourself back again. So that's the thing. That's why people are not surviving even concerts now, because the algorithms are aggressive in the environment, and the concert is causing so much volatility in the person's infrastructure. People get heart attacks and strokes from all that division and breaking apart of their body. Okay? And so, yeah, I don't listen to any high energy music. I don't listen to anything like that. I don't. And so I might go out and listen to music once a year, but not very often. Right now, everything is aggressive. So I just keep away from too many frequencies, whether it's a bunch of people or really great, crazy music, or all the different things that go along with social interaction. And so when people are pixelating, what does that mean? When you're releasing, not only you're releasing demons, that's a different way of pixelating. But people who are pixelating, they're in an environment and the energy is sucking the life out of them. They're not releasing the demons. The energy is actually, they're disintegrating when you think about it. They're disintegrating. They're turning into, they become blurry. What does that mean? Well, when things aren't as defined, or their body is releasing demons and it's not in the way that they need to, it's other ways. So, I mean, sperm and egg is pixelation, because it's like a little tiny bitmap of you. It's like a snapshot of your DNA. And so people are pixelating, they might be more susceptible to programming. Stories, information, and programming gets transmitted in so many ways. Electromagnetic frequencies transmit so many types of information and frequencies. So there's a crystal cathedral tower in the UK, and they did all the television and radio, or at least early on, before they went from from analog to digital or something like that. But it was these crystals that were transmitting energy, the UHF, AM, FM, something like that. You can read about that in Wikipedia, Crystal Palace Tower, whatever. And so electromagnetic frequencies transmit so many types of information and frequencies. No matter what, you can program yourself, and you must release the demons, and you must feed yourself relative to the energy in your environment. So again, when you're skinny, you got to be building up the weight, because you have to have substance to convert. And I'll tell you, you can't be. That's why I tell you, you can't be really skinny in this time right now. That's why the system is now promoting bigger people. I mean, you don't want to be so obese where you tax your vital organs, but you got to be somewhere where bigger is better, because this environment is going to cause you to do so much energy conversion that you have to have substance. You have to have reserves. You have to have something to convert. And if you're not, then you will disintegrate. You will die suddenly. Okay, so when I figured out that crystals and glass and all that, they can cause things obviously to get hot and make the temperature hotter and warmer and more aggressive. When I was remembering the time when we were using magnifying glasses to go and roast the ants. And so imagine, so small magnifying glass using the sun as a source, roasting the ants. Large magnifying glass using the sun as a source, roasting people and modifying weather, right? Churches used to use the nose in a steeple filled with large crystals, magnifying the sun over the town, causing climate change disease. Please understand physics. It's not just about the stories, okay? Physics is what rules the day. You can make a story about anybody. The reason why you don't see Jesus right now is because he was dead. He was dead a long time ago. They used him as a patsy. The Romans did. Now people are worshiping different things all over. I mean, we're reliving all the religions from 6,000 years ago when people are worshiping stars, worshiping people, places, and things. It's physics that caused people to have these spiritual awakenings. Okay? I remember when I was driving from California, I was driving from California to over here. I remember I felt something just wake up in me, and it made me just be more aggressive and drive my car really fast, like really fast. Taking the turns that you go to get onto the freeway, I was taking them so fast and so sharp as if I was meaning to go and do something and crash my car. That's how some of these frequencies can hit people. Okay? And I didn't realize that that's probably what's going on back then, because climate change and all the different energy stuff and the chemtrail stuff all working together, they develop and cause behaviors in people that already are there. And so I was probably a little bit self-destructive back then. So driving my car my little Ford Focus really fast, taking the turn so hard and so fast, is something took over me. Okay? And that's all physics. And people blame themselves. And that's why you see people go fast. That's why people are getting pulled over right now. These frequencies are changing people's behaviors and causing them to switch that quickly. And they could be driving a car and they end up pushing the gas and be like, okay, I'm going to just do it and go. And then all of a sudden they get in an accident, or they have 5 cop cars behind them. It's insane how these frequencies change people's behaviors. Okay, so then stained glass also blocks out unwanted energies such as electromagnetic fields from computers, fluorescent lighting, microwaves, and other devices that generate subtle energies that can have negative effects on people's health and the environment. Okay, then you see all the churches with the stained glasses, right? And so stained glass windows in Britain can be traced back to the 7th century, with some early examples found in churches and monasteries. Stained glass exploded in popularity during the Middle Ages, and by the 12th century, the practice has become much more sophisticated. And so that's why I say be very careful using crystals as healing, because they could be breaking you apart. See, I knew in my gut a couple of years ago, get away from the crystals, put them all away, cover them up, do something. And then we have liquid crystals like water. By applying an electric field, which makes the neighboring molecules of liquid align in a way that resembles a crystal. Now you see how water can be used as a weapon against people. The world is not what you think, everybody. So when you think about how hot it is right now in Ohio, Cleveland, Canton, wherever, and then we have all these different lasers and Space Force shit, and we have all the different particles from the chemtrails, and then we have the system using the sun as a source to then make things hotter, global warming. You can only imagine how it's breaking people apart if they don't keep up with the energy. Even the water has been activated. Okay, just like when you walk by any transformer and you feel stuff, your water has been activated. All right. And so scientists have discovered that water can exhibit a similar behavior like a liquid crystal when illuminated with laser light. This effect originates by the alignment of water molecules, which exhibit a mixture of low and high density domains that are more or less prone to alignment. The results are based on a combination of experimental studies using X-ray lasers and molecular simulations. All right, so yeah, the world's not what you think, and you are outnumbered by all the different machines out there. There are so many machines out there. There's a large one called CERN. There is HARP, and yeah, people have Wi-Fi. There's cell towers. People have said they felt stuff when they moved next to a cell tower. I can understand. You have to keep feeding the energy, and your body is moving and trying to release the damage, and you have to keep repairing the damage, keep feeding, keep feeding. When your body tells you that there's acid coming up in your throat, then you got to release the demons down there. That's what I did yesterday. Okay? And so eventually you will have the communication from your alimentary canal to save your ass. And then when you're hungry, like I didn't drink any coffee this morning. I didn't want any coffee. Okay? I barely even ate yesterday. But I have enough belly, I have enough boob, I have enough body that it can carry me through this because I had all the different ice cream bars this last month. Ice cream and pasta and so much stuff. So I built up all this food as reserve so my body can handle releasing the demons and handle the energy environment. And then when I'm hungry again, I will eat again. Okay? And so that's where you want to be, where you have enough reserves to handle your environment. But people don't, and they keep starving themselves because they don't want to feel the energy of releasing. And it's pretty bad out there. It's bad. And so liquid crystals were considered a mere scientific curiosity when they were first discovered in 1888. Over 100 years later, they are one of the most widely used technologies present in the digital display LCDs of watches, TVs, and computer screens. Liquid crystals can work by applying an electric field which makes the neighboring molecules of a liquid align in a way that resembles a crystal. Water too can be distorted towards a liquid crystal when illuminated with laser light. And so just imagine what the weather is being done with all the different lasers up there in the sky. Okay? All right, so you can read all that. And so this is why people worship the sun, because the sun can give you life, but the sun can also take away life. Right now in this environment, the sun is taking away people's lives, taking away their substantial infrastructure. And so that's why I stay home and I hardly go out in the sun. I go out in the sun very minimally. And so that's when my husband comes home and you're like, it's so dark in here. And you're like, turn on all the lights. I'm like, oh my God, it's like, I feel like a vampire, because I don't want that much light. There's already enough light and the particle acceleration in the atmosphere with what's going on that I don't like a lot of light. Then yeah, when you see how Vampire Diaries of Vampires, where that comes into play, no, I'm not sucking the blood off anything, and I'm not eating people or eating raw animals and stuff like that. But with how light can destroy you. Light is good to grow, but too much light will destroy you. Okay? So I like the dark right now. That's why I like to sit, in darkness sometimes and sit and just relax in the darkness because I know how much light is out there. And so the sun with all the magnification and amplification will destroy sun worshippers and people who refuse to change. Now you know the world has changed, which is why the children, the elderly, the skinny people who are always outside now in this environment, they will be aggressively pixelating, and will they survive? Only they know. I can't predict what's going to go. I don't know what they're going to do in their own time, if they're going to be able to handle that. Now with the sun amplification, obese people must slowly start releasing their demons or they will supernova. Growth is astronomical, and then the underweight, skinny boys and girls must gradually take on the pressure of substance called Appalachian food. So their bodies have a substance to convert when the sun overworks their cells. And so mom and dad, they have to pay attention. That's what I'm saying. Mothers are going to make or break their children. Mothers are going to make or break their family if they don't fucking get this. Okay? Because the sun is that aggressive. Just because you go into a pool and you feel cooler, you have to have a large pool with a lot of cold water, and even then, the ocean is like 100 degrees. But then, even if you're sitting out in the pool, laying out in the pool, like everything is great, that sun, all that UV rays is completely just breaking you apart, weakening stuff. And so then when people get sick and the body trying to remove the damage, they're like, oh, we can't be sick. So they give people, like, they give the kids and themselves antibiotics and go into surgeries, or they don't want to eat any food because the food is painful. They get stomach aches. Now that kid has hardly anything. How are they going to survive growing up? Bone breakage? Oh, so many other things. So many other things. And so what it all comes down to is people are dying from too much light and not enough body. The light is causing replication. People don't know how to deal with reproduction, replication. It literally is eating them alive. So when you have all that reproduction, replication, your body's breaking apart, and then those little cells are trying to eat to come back. What do they have to eat if you're not bringing in a lot of the reserves? And so they eat you alive. Either way, if you can't control the growth in your body, it will eat you alive regardless if you are bigger or smaller. That's why I release the demons the way I do. Literally, it's the only way to survive in this environment. That's why I eat the way I do when I need to. Nothing else will work. I'm serious. You cannot resist the environment. You must assimilate and release the demons and eat every single food, especially Appalachian. Stay away from the spicy food. Now, chemtrails. Okay, if you can buy that chemtrails, if you think that V's are poison, you'll think chemtrails are poison. Those two now are working hand in hand. When you realize that the V's, the VACCINES's, are not poison, neither are the chemtrails. What's poison? Well, there's nothing poison. It's the activation of the particles is what makes the chemtrails and makes the VACCINES's a bit more energetic than people want to deal with. Okay? The EPA measures the parts per million. It's not dangerous. The FDA measures whatever's in there. It's not dangerous. Nothing in the chemtrails, nothing in the V's are poison. It is the activated energy, and people not understanding how to deal with the energy is what people are reacting to. So just remember, nothing is poison in the chemtrails. It's the climate change. Even the 4 seasons and the aggressive weather is what caused people to get sick, really sick, and pixelate, causing cold and flu season and spring allergies and pandemics. And so like I said, chemtrails are like VACCINES's. Not a big deal unless you are already deficient or unless particle acceleration is infused, as well as HAARP. So there's CERN. Remember last year around July, we had a major shift, and I could see that in the skies. I saw the difference in the skies, not the chemtrails, but how fluffy the clouds were and how moist the air was. And then people got sick. I got so sick last year, so sick from that energy conversion. So did a lot of people. We're having it again this summer. They're saying another pandemic, COVID, is going to come around again. And so chemtrails are like a vaccine. Not a big deal unless you are already deficient or unless particle acceleration is infused, like the CERN, as well as HAARP. The laws of motion is what makes the vaccines and the chemicals pretty aggressive. Aggressive particle acceleration makes everything aggressive. And so when there is particle acceleration, regardless of where it comes from, you have to feed the energy and you have to release the demons. If you don't do that, then yes, you will get a diagnosable condition. And so chemtrails, don't believe in them. Here's a little news for you. Not only are they real, but they've been doing it for over 50 years. Well, I'm about 50 years old, so that makes sense. I remember seeing the lines in the sky when I was a kid. Okay? And it's proven fact, even if you don't like it, even if you can't see it, in the skies every day all over the earth, most of us do, chemtrails and weather modification are a fact of life. Okay? And they show you when the patent number came out in 1991, method of producing rainfall. So then you knew that they made the things rain around 1930s when Roosevelt was talking to people around the Dust Bowl times. So 1891, 1914, 1917, 1920, 1924, 1927, 1928, 1932, 1933, 34, 36. Shit, so many. And you see all of that, okay? So now you have to know how to respond to it. And so, yeah, it will be bad as far as this pandemic now with another COVID this summer. Oh yeah, it will be bad. I feel it. And I have the power to release my own demons and eat food. My release process is not the J juice. It is in my book. But holy shit, these crazy frequencies, the high heat wake up so many different demons within. That's why they're able to predict certain infections. Every microbe responds to an algorithm. Just like some people are attracted to certain types of music, other people are repelled by certain types of music. Okay? Some people have sex to music, like Barry White or Buck Cherry. Certain algorithms cause your microbes to fornicate and produce trillions of offspring, called infection, cancer, disease, chronic illness. Frequencies or our algorithms, and they wake up certain proteins in the body, which is why be very careful going to rock concerts during this aggressive environment. Be careful the type of music you listen to, because it could cause excessive growth. Be very careful of frequencies. That's why you must have a lot of resources for you to deal with growth and release and replenishment. If not, you will waste away, eaten alive by your own body. Okay? So again, if you're very skinny and you're playing a lot of music, that's probably what's cannibalizing the shit out of you. Okay? And so yeah, yesterday I had heartburn and all that stuff, and I released my own demons. And so, and it can cause heartburn, high heat. And so during climate change, so many different amplifiers and magnification can make the sun directly shine on you, thus change the weather. This is why you must modify your movements, because every place is dealing with their own global warming, which means the other side will be dealing with extreme cold. Okay, so when it's winter, I hear it's going to be a really aggressive winter, like really cold. Okay? And so, which means the other side will be dealing with extreme cold. When the northern hemisphere is hot, some parts of the southern hemisphere will be cold, and vice versa. And then there's the equator, okay? That's climate change. Once the desirable outcome is achieved, they will stop amplifying the sun or blocking it, and we will be back to relatively normal weather based upon the spinning of the earth on its axis and where the sun shines. Technology can modify the weather by how the sun is used and how other types of energy is amplified, and how particles can reflect back and shade the earth more than what people expect. Living near the equator, okay, all that stuff, and then how does one cool the planet or one side of the planet? One idea involves pumping sun-blocking particles into the upper atmosphere. This process of stratospheric aerosol injection would involve plain spraying an aerosol like sulfur dioxide in the stratosphere. This mist of particles would reflect the sun back upwards, shading the earth. All right? And so cold is lack of thermal energy. Cold things have low kinetic energy at the particle level, whereby the random motion of their particles is relatively inactive. And so, that's going to happen in winter. So be prepared for very cold winters. All right? And then you can see where all that is. So anyways, I'm telling you guys, the only way you're going to survive this is you have to pack on the fucking pounds. And the pain is going to be your body trying to release all the foreign objects and the demons and everything else. And you're going to have to keep packing on the pounds so you can handle this energy conversion, because it's aggressive. Children, I have a question if they'll survive. As I'm saying, mothers are going to be the ones to make or break their children. Mothers are going to be the ones to make or break their children, make or break themselves, make or break their families. Men have to save themselves. And who they take cues from? The women. Or they reject the women. If there's a woman that's influential that he really respects and wants to listen to, he'll listen. But some men don't think women are smart enough for them, and so they'll do their own thing. And so I don't know what's going to take for all the men to figure out what kind of woman's going to make them change, and they may not. But women are more evolutionary than men. Of course, we're the one that bears the babies. We have the pain every month. I haven't had pain in this month as far as period pain, because I haven't had a period this month. And we're at the end of July. All right, so good luck, everybody. But yeah, now you understand why. Yeah, you understand now that you got to stay more indoors if you can, because the reflection of all this particle stuff, I feel it. I feel the sparkly is a lot. And then my body comes back together again. Okay? Some of you are just sparkling and then disintegration. All right, bye.